sunny skies, high 94. We're Trade Atlantic and the Weather Channel.
You're up to date with the latest weather forecast right here on the ESPN Radio Network.
This is Mike Golick for the best in local sports talk and play-by-play. It's SEMO ESPN.
Live in the studio. It's time for the Red Hawks Coaches Show. Live from Wings, etc. Hear the Coaches Show each week on SEMO ESPN 1220 and also at SEMOESPN.com and the SEMO ESPN app. Also, watch the Red Hawks Coaches Show webcast live at SEMOESPN.com. Now, let's go live to Wings, etc. for the Red Hawks Coaches Show.
Welcome in to the Red Hawks Coaches Show. We are at Wings, etc. in Jackson today. So if you are out and about, want to stop by and join us for lunch, stop on by Wings, etc. in Jackson. And what you can do, walk in the front door, a little different than the Cape Girardeau location. Walk in the door, take a right. We're back in the banquet room. We've got the high-def TVs with highlights from the Red Hawks game with Montana State. And we've got seats available for you to stop by and join us for lunch, where their daily half-pound lunch specials start at just $6.99. And on Mondays, their award-winning jumbo wings, just 69 cents. And they have a full menu, and that includes their burger section. There's an entire section just for the burgers here at Wings, etc. They have wraps, subs, quesadillas, entree salads, smoked ribs, and much more. And their appetizer lineup includes their ultimate nachos and their deep-fried pickle spears. Stop by Wings, etc. We're in the Jackson location. We'll be back over in Cape next Monday after the Red Hawks get back from Columbia. They'll be taking on the Mizzou Tigers coming up on Saturday. The Red Hawks head coach is here, Tom Matukowicz. That was a long flight out to Bozeman, and it took us a while to get back, but, boy, that was a beautiful venue. They had an outstanding crowd. It was pushing 20,000, which is over capacity at that place. It's a real football atmosphere. They've really got something brewing out there, don't they?
Yeah, it was an unbelievable trip. You know, it's a tough trip. People don't understand just how hard it is to move that many people that far. You know, and any little thing could go wrong. We were in the plane trying to come home, and they said, you got to get rid of 600 pounds. Like, well, what do you mean? It's like, no, structurally the limit of this plane will disintegrate unless you get 600 pounds off the plane.
So you ran a couple of linemen off, and
you never want to be on an edge, right? I was like, let's go ahead and take 700 off. And so they wouldn't let me. I tried to just jump off myself, but they made me come back with the team, and we moved some boxes out of there. But, you know, that's the thing, and a lot of boosters come, and so a lot of those guys got to see just how hard it is and all of the moving parts. And we were breaking in a new director of football operations, a new strength coach that handles all the meals, and so it was like our first real test, and they crushed it. And so that was good. But love Montana. The people there were amazing. Good fans. I mean, they supported their team, but they weren't, you know, buttholes either. I mean, they were good people and enjoyed the town, and you know, it was a business trip for us, so didn't get to see anything. But it's not like I'm just bitter that I lost to that football team. Of course, I'm upset and didn't want to, but their coaches, their fans, their program, their town, like I got no shame in losing to that team. I mean, you know, we're going to get better. If we play them again, it may not be the same way, but you know, tip your hat to those guys.
And the one thing I'll follow up with the fans, oftentimes when the bus is pulling up and you're driving near the tailgate, sometimes some fans will start with gestures and different things. We're pulling up through the tailgate area up to the stadium, and their fans are just waving. I mean, just waving and saying, hey, how's everybody doing?
Yeah, I don't know if everybody saw it on Facebook, but their big rival, like our SIU, is Montana. And so they burn you know, they have an opposing fan, or the team they're playing, that fan go and burn the Montana's mascot, and Joe Hobbs got to do it. And so, you know, they had a tailgate for our fans inside the stadium, all set for the opponent team. You know, that was just hospitality is a big deal, and how you treat people matters. You know, and so that was just a good lesson for me.
The Montana Grizzlies, I hear that I think grizzly bears are an endangered species, so there may be a warrant out for Hobbs.
I guarantee he's got him in several states.
And he's in a great mood. First of all, his Patriots were big winners, and they got Antonio Brown. So look at him. He's just basking in the glory of the big win for the New England Patriots. Won't find a bigger New England Patriots fan than Joe Hobbs. And the boss is here today, too.
Yeah.
And she made the trip as well. So he's got to keep it in check because she will. Yeah. So as we get ready to talk, we'll talk Mizzou a little bit later. We've got Christian Wilkerson, the Red Hawks All-American wide receiver, is going to be joining us out of Memphis. And, boy, how about the catch that Christian made in that game, the first touchdown of the day? That's double coverage. They got two of their best guys on Christian Wilkerson, and Santa just throws it up in the left corner of the end zone. He just went up and got it.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's like, how many of these can he keep doing? Because the word's out, right? I'm pretty sure Montana State knew that they were going to do that, and he still got his job done. And, it's nice, even in the red zone, threw him a fade and he got that done. It's just having that balance, and that comfort zone for Santa to go throw it out there and just appreciate him. It's hard to have a good senior year, to be honest. You have a good junior year. Everybody starts telling you that you invented football, and then maybe not as quite as sharp, and, hey, I don't have to work quite as hard. And, he's a guy that's just he wants more. He had that taste of success, and he wants more, and he wants a great life. And I know the paper did a great story on him, and he had an opportunity to work for Robinson Construction in the summer. He's a construction major, and he wants to be great, whether he makes it in the NFL or not. He wants to have a great life, and he's just it's just what college football is all about, and how proud should SEMO be that Christian Wilkerson represents our university. I know I am.
And a guy he's closing in on the all-time touchdown receptions mark of Paul McRoberts, NFL player. So he's closing in on that. But, Coach, he has been an impact guy since he was a freshman, hasn't he?
Yeah. Salim Powell, I don't know if you remember him.
Yep.
He's with the Jets now, but he recruited Memphis. And
I remember when Salim played.
Yeah.
He was good.
And so he really liked Christian at a camp right away, and had brought him back. And looking at him, and he didn't have a lot of offers. He was kind of a hidden gem, and you'd have to ask him how many offers he had. But kind of like me, he was kind of left standing there, and SEMO was there, and he came and got on the train to try to rebuild this thing.
Any interest that you have seen? I mean, you see a lot of scouts that come into Houck Stadium. Has there been some interest from the next level with Christian?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they have a lot of guys come in and look at him, and I know they're looking forward to his senior day or senior pro day, and, I think they like what they see, and I know a couple of them will be there at Mizzou, and so, it's great. It's great for him.
Boy, how much can you maximize a guy's skills when you have a quarterback that has the skill set of a Daniel Santa Catarina?
Yeah, exactly. And it's a team effort. You don't execute plays with one person or two people. It takes everybody. And so I think Santa's best ball is the deep ball. And so that's nice that's really what Christian does well too. Although he had a nice really catch, he broke an arm tackle, and he's still I think he's deadly with after the catch too. People that press us and all that is kind of hard, but hopefully we'll get him the ball where he can run after it too.
And anybody that saw Christian Wilkerson as a freshman has seen the transformation. He has put the work in the weight room. Does he break that arm tackle when he was a freshman here at SEMO?
No.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you're first part of your junior year. Me and him were beefing over it. And then he got it going.
All-American. He will join us coming up in just a few minutes. Let's recap what happened at Montana State. It was 38-17. The Bobcats win the football game, and they took charge early in the game, Coach. They had a big play from there. And this is amazing for anybody that knows college football. They've got a guy named Troy Anderson who was their starting quarterback last year and was named the top quarterback in the Big Sky. First team all Big Sky. And if you talk about the best FCS conferences, would you agree Missouri Valley Football Conference, Big Sky, Colonial. Would you say those are the top 3 in FCS?
Yeah, definitely top 2. Those 2 are the top 2 leagues.
So then you're talking about one of the top leagues in the country, and he's named the top quarterback, great runner with the football, 21 touchdowns last year was a school record at Montana State. And this year they bring in another quarterback and they move him to starting linebacker, and then when they need a big play, they move him back on offense.
Yeah.
How many guys can do that?
No, exactly. He's a unique kid. He's probably once every 10-year type kid, and so and just he's really good with the ball security. I can't believe he stayed healthy, this long doing what he's done. But they did a nice job, and I think 2 things with the start of the game. One is we have to understand as a program that people are going to be excited to play us. So we're going to come out the gate, and they're going to swing for the fences, right? And so we got to be ready for that surge right off the bat. And then I'm looking at just our practice schedule and may try to maybe move some on the front end to practice to make sure we're ready, but also maybe get a little more good on good so we don't have that game adjustment, because normally you work versus scouts and go separate. But I think we need to work maybe some 1s, 2s, 2s, 1s this week, and certainly for Mizzou.
You knew coming into the football game, Montana State had probably, on paper, they're going to be one of the best offensive lines that you face all season. They've got basically everybody back on the offensive line. They've got an All-American left tackle that's probably going to end up in the National Football League. So that was the strength of their team going in, and they wanted to establish that early on in the football game, and I thought they did on their opening drive.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they came out in a 3-back set that we hadn't seen on film, and they got us, and unfortunately we didn't get it fixed quick enough. That's also what they got us in the third quarter, and so we got to be able to adapt and adjust sooner to that. They happen. We don't watch them practice, so if they come out something we haven't practiced, we just got to be ready to get our kids there. But ultimately, we had a couple. It's triple option, and that's the problem. Now all of a sudden,
ask Michigan how tough it is to defend the triple option.
It's not like we didn't have a guy on him; he couldn't make that play, and so then we had to adjust from that.
Speaking of the triple option, did you follow closely what Army almost did at Michigan?
No.
Well, they took Michigan into overtime. They missed a field goal from 50 at the Horn, or they would have beaten Michigan. Same Army team that took Oklahoma into overtime in Norman last year, and Oklahoma made the college football playoff. But you don't see that triple option very often anymore, and especially if you're going into a game, don't know it's coming. Other teams are going to see that, so they'll have packages for it. But unfortunately, you were the first one to play that.
Obviously that's why if you played them again, you'd have better understanding and we'd be able to prepare our kids for it. But that's the advantage they had.
And they ran out a 6'7" quarterback who was a freshman. Man, oh man, I'm not sure you're going to face a taller quarterback than that guy.
Yeah, and he's thick too. That's one thing I felt like our DBs held up well. There's basically what we would consider 5 50-50 balls where they told him, hey, go test those corners, and we were 4 or 5. That's pretty good, versus that caliber of a team. So I thought our DBs did a good job in the passing game.
If you were coming out of the football game and talking about some of the strengths that you saw the defensive backfield would have to rate.
Yeah, a couple of the long runs, they need to tackle better. But in a passing game, I thought they played really well.
And you're going to see a lot of passing when you get into conference play. Obviously, you're going to see a lot of shotgun, a lot of spread stuff. So they go up 10-0 in the football game. They're up 10-0 after one quarter. What are your thoughts after one period of play? It's a 10-0 football game.
Well, we were about to get the brakes beat off us, right? I mean, they block a punt, they're up 10, and then we throw a pick. So, I mean, the surge and the whole thing was right there, and our defense did a great job, held them. They missed a field goal, and I'm telling you, that was the defining moment of just, how mentally tough is our team. Like, you're about to break, and they're able to get them down, and then we blocked one of their punts and then scored, and so we got it back to where, 7-10, where that could have gotten ugly on us. And even later on. So our team fought the whole time, which was nice. And then the right before half, that 2-minute drive, I mean, we're on the what we were on, probably the 10-yard line with a minute left. it's.
I
it's
didn't know that you
7-10.
weren't just going to run the football
Yeah,
into the
so
line.
that's what do you do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so as a head coach, and the coordinator, you talk about this, and we had a plan and ended up kicking that field goal. They had a penalty on the last play, which got us in the field goal range and kicked it. Was it 55?
55.
So that's we're going to need those type of plays, and someday we may have to hit a 55er to win a game. And so that was great. It happened. Great that we executed.
So you are on that final drive. You got a minute and 2, something like that left, and 2 timeouts, and you have to make the decision, okay, are we just going to run a couple of plays and then go in at halftime because, you don't want to make a mistake deep in your own zone, especially on the road in front of 20,000. The fans are really into it. So you go down. You get to the 40-ish yard line, and you throw a Hail Mary there at the horn. They rough Santa. You get 15 yards, and with zeros on the clock, you run Kendrick Tiller out there to attempt – where the guy put his knee down, it was really like a 55.5-yard field goal. But he kicks that. How much did altitude help get that thing through?
I don't know. As coaches, we're just thankful it went through there. But, I think our kicking game was good, and our kickers did a nice job, and theirs missed. So, altitude's one thing, but he's had a decent leg. He's been a little – at times his ball's a little low, and so that's the thing. We, certainly on short field goals, let's get that thing up in the air. But, he's got a good leg on him.
Well, clearly,
yeah.
It probably would have been good from 57, 58 yards, but just snuck over the crossbar there as time expired. And let's face it, you had the momentum going into the locker room at halftime after that. Your sideline was up for grabs when he kicked that field goal.
Yeah. They, right at half was great, and they're excited. But, I knew we're though from the get-go, we weren't winning the line of scrimmage. And so I knew that was going to show itself at some point. And, that's now we know exactly what it is we got to get better at.
It's interesting because the third quarter was the defining quarter in that game. All about 28-point third quarters. We go back to the Stony Brook game. Mm-hmm. You're down by 2 touchdowns at halftime, and you come out and basically do the same thing that Montana did to you on Saturday.
Yeah, It's the big plays. That's basically what they did, and we weren't able to get anything going. They had a lot of pressure on the quarterback, and I think we had 3 sacks in the third quarter. So it was kind of hanging on, and I'm glad it didn't get away because even at that point, what's the team do? Do they fold? And that's what's nice. If you take the third quarter out, we win 17-10. So at least in the fourth quarter, we still won it. We still competed, all those things that you like to see, from a character standpoint.
And you kind of gave yourself a chance to maybe make some noise late. You even recovered an onside kick.
Yeah.
And they've made the rules for it to recover an onside kick a little tougher, haven't they?
As far as
like being able to block guys to go down and block guys. So, there used to be some tricks that you could do to keep the other team from getting the ball. But I think you just caught them by surprise, and it was a tremendous onside kick.
No, we had that. And, of course, going into a big game like that, you feel like you have to steal a possession. Is that a fake punt? Is that going for it on fourth down? Is that onside? And then you just see how the game dictates itself. But great job execution. That guy, it's one of those things. Bad ball, we ain't getting it. Good ball, we get it. Yeah. Like it's literally that. It's like you gotta execute that, and it's a hard kick to execute, and did a great job.
The second half, what were you talking about at halftime? And in retrospect, what adjustments, what things did they do? What wrinkles did they add in the second half versus what you guys kind of talked about at halftime?
Well, basically, what they did in the third quarter is they kind of found a hole and they made it bigger, and they got 15 in there, and he did a great job, and they popped a couple runs. It wasn't something we hadn't seen before. It was just they did a good job executing at the time, and then offensively couldn't get anything going, and that wore us down, and it was the snowball effect on our defense.
That's the thing. You had 3 straight 3-and-outs to start the third quarter. They take the opening drive and take it 65 yards and punch it in. You had 3 3-and-outs, and they scored after every one of the 3-and-outs, which means your defense is on the field the entire third quarter, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that's the snowball. It wasn't necessarily they come out with new plays or new blitz or anything. They just did a better job than us.
All right, running the football, you knew that was the strength of their football team. Did you see anything that, other than when they ran the triple option, did you see anything offensively there that surprised you?
Other than those plays, the thing you look at as a coach is, hey, are we going to be able to fix these, or are these player problems? Is it schematic problems? How come they rush for that much? And so most of it was schematics, or they had a missed assignment. And so all of those that we can fix. So everything that they hit us on, we feel like we're going to get off the film by the time OVC hits.
Offensively, you ran some wildcat down there on the goal line, and Mark Robinson punched the football across the goal line. Took a while for the officials to see if he was in, but he got in.
Yeah, again, got to be able to get it in the red zone. You get it down there, got to punch it in. They did a good job, and we got to continue to find that balance. And it's tough because it all goes back to our O-line. And we're missing our tight end, so it's tough, but that's what's good. Like, I'm glad it's tough, because what I care about is Ja'Kai Baker's ready for Tennessee Tech. Like, if what I say and what our leaders and our seniors said, it's about the OVC, well, if we believe that, then our behavior should look like this. All these 4 games are just feedback. This is what it is that we got to get better at if we want to win the OVC. And so, we're not going to sit around and have a pity party about Montana State, because then you miss the lessons. Like, good. I'm glad that happened. I'm glad Ja'Kai Baker jumped off sides twice, because now we know we're going to wear his ass out until he doesn't do it. Because at Tennessee Tech, he jumps off sides, I'm going to stab myself with a spork and bleed out on the sideline so I don't have to watch anymore.
Gino Hess got a lot of playing time in the second half, Coach. He ended up running for 90 yards in the football game on 15 carries. So he's averaging 7 yards per run and only lost 2 yards. There's a guy who is really starting to make a little bit of a name for himself. He had a really nice second half against SIU Carbondale and came out and was your most effective runner at Montana State.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like anything. Those guys get all the credit, but there are probably a little more holes opened up and some stuff like that he got to take advantage of. But I think all 3 are just really good, and I think all 3 are starters in our league. I think if Gino was at Austin Peay, he'd be a starter, or Mark was at, Jacksonville State, I think he's a starter. I mean? That's really nice to have, but it's hard, if the only reason you're playing football is for your stats, the only reason you're here is for your glory, well, hate to break it to you, this is about winning OVC. So if it's you get 5 carries this game, then that's what it is, because that's what we believe. It gives us the best chance to win.
I think anybody that has watched a lot of SEMO football, Ohio Valley Conference football, they can see your 3 running backs, Mark Robinson, Zion Custis, Gino Hess. These guys would probably be starters anywhere around the OVC. And now a guy who you really recruited heavily, Ivory Winters from Hayti, who signed to play at the University of Indiana. The news broke last week that he had been granted his release to come back home. He is on the roster, and I know you said he is listed at running back. Tell us a little bit about Ivory Winters and how you see the progression going for him.
Well, I don't have a crystal ball, so anything I'd say would be guessing. But I could tell you 2 things. One is, I'm glad that he wanted to come home. I'm glad he wanted to play for SEMO. I consider the boot heel like ours. Like that's I'm a part of that. Like I have pride in being from that. I don't consider St. Louis a part of us. And so I take a lot of pride in this area. That's why I recruited. I go to Sykeston. I go to all these towns because I want them to have pride in SEMO. And so for him to didn't even consider any other schools. because if he put his name in the portal, and I'm telling you, anybody would recruit him. The guy had all kinds of offers, but he wanted to come home, and so happy. Now the hard work begins. You don't just walk in a Division I institution and you're going to play right away, or they suck, right? If
Right.
you're doing that. So now it's just like any other player in our program. Like you get what you earn. And so we're going to put him on work team, and if he starts making plays at work team, then I'm going to, hey, we need to give this guy more, and that's the thing. And it's hard because when you recruit local like we do, and Al Young and all these other guys will tell you, it's hard to play at home because everybody, they go to Dollar General and old Billy's asking them, hey, why ain't you playing? Yeah, old Coach Duke, boy, he's screwing you, and they listen. And so it's tough, and you can't let Hayti. They don't know, they don't understand, and so you got to make sure your circle is small, who you're listening to, and just buy into the coaches. We have your best interest at heart, and it's a process. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint, but patience is a virtue for a reason. I don't have it half the time, let alone 18, 19-year-old kids, and just trying to understand, I tell them all the time, even my first meeting with a freshman, I know I'm going on a tangent here, but
No, people want to hear this. I
even
guarantee
my
it.
first meeting with a freshman, I tell them all the time, I don't care what you think of me when you're 18. I care what you think of me when you're 30. And so our kids sometimes don't even think that what they're having for lunch, let alone life after football or life in 2 years. And so that's what you're trying to do, is you're trying to educate and just try to get them to mature and think about the future and to think through all this process. And it's a problem because in recruiting, and he's a great recruit. He's a big-time talent, but it doesn't just happen that way. There's 500 of them that don't even play. And there's others that go to the NFL. It's everywhere in between. And so we got to do a good job of onboarding. He's got to do a good job, and he started school late. So we got that part of it, and there's just a lot to it. People like to go ahead and pencil in that he's going to get drafted. And do you realize from him coming here and draft what is involved right here? And people, there are no overnight sensations. Like it is tremendous amount of work to get this done. And I know he's a worker, and I'm sure he's going to do it, but we can't just act like it's already happened either.
3,000 rushing yards and 59 touchdowns last year for Hayti. They went 15-0, won the state championship. So he's a Big Ten athlete, obviously, because he got a scholarship to a Big Ten school. He went through camp with Indiana. It would seem like he's probably in pretty good shape, in football shape. Coming here, it's not like he's been sitting out.
Yeah, exactly. No, he's in shape.
And as far as just telling people who may not have seen Hayti play, why was he so highly recruited? Why was he, so ranked highly by the recruiting services? What's his skill set?
Well, he's 215 pounds. Okay, so some people don't realize how big he is because you look at him, he looks like an athlete, right? And so you assume he's 180. Well, that's 215. So the guy you want me to recruit that's fast is 160. Well, he's just as fast as 160, but he's 215. The other thing that I feel like separated him is he's mean. You'd be surprised, man. All these fast guys are sissies. They grew up running away. That's how they got so fast. He's mean. Like, come on, get some of it. Like, that's what I liked, and that separates yourself, because if you want to do this at a high level, you're going to have to do it against other mean people.
So let's talk about what a work team is. You say he's going to start out on the work team. What is the work team?
Well, it's just like he's going to simulate Mizzou's running back.
Okay.
He's going to be the kickoff returner for Mizzou. And if he makes our ones and twos, he makes plays against them, then we're going to feel like we need to get him going in other areas. But I've learned my lesson that, I played a couple kids too early, and I'm not doing that again. All of a sudden, expectations climb, and they can't handle it. So I'm giving them what they earn. Like I tell my team all the time, we are an equal opportunity program. We will let you rise or fall based on what you earn. but no one gets playing time that hasn't earned it, period. And it hadn't always been the case because we were terrible. And you're like, well, I'm going to do this. No. What's the film look like? You put that kind of film out there, then you'll earn reps on this football team.
So Ivory Winters, the newest member. And if you were someone who was joining the SEMO football team at the same time, if you picked a position, he may have picked the deepest position on the football team, or one of them, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's not why he came.
Sure.
That's why he left. Because the most important thing that matters, and this is what I try to get, when I get advice about recruiting, like it's about the fit. It doesn't matter. They can recruit a team full next year at your position. If you don't fit at that institution, I don't care. It's going to be a terrible fit. Like eventually it's not going to work in the same way. If it's a good fit, it doesn't matter. It will work if you buy in and all the stuff it takes. And so that's why it's good. Like this fits. It's going to be hard and it's going to be bloody, I'm sure, and maybe even some tears, but we're going to get her done because it's a good fit.
We're going to talk with somebody who has fitted nicely into the Redhawks game plan week after week since his freshman year. All-American wide receiver Christian Wilkerson out of Memphis is going to join us coming up. We'll rejoin Coach Tuke a little bit later on, talk about the Missouri Tigers, the opponent. 6:30, by the way, kickoff coming up Saturday at Faurot Field. We'll take a timeout. We're at Wings, etc. in Jackson. Redhawks Coaches Show on SEMO ESPN.
You know Sadie has private pay personal care services to assist you with your daily tasks? Maybe it's finally time to get some help.
To stay with us through much of the week ahead. We're going to look at sunshine here today at 92. A clear sky tonight, low 70. Tuesday, sunshine with a high 94. And Wednesday, sunny skies in the forecast, high 93. Thursday, sunny skies, high 94. We're Trader Wet again, the Weather Channel.
You're up to date with the latest weather forecast right here on the ESPN Radio Network.
In just 1 week here in Jackson, next Monday, after the Redhawks go up and play the Mizzou Tigers, next Monday at noon, we'll be back in the Cape Girardeau location of Wings, etc., where they have their lunch specials every day for just $6.99. Good luck finding half-pound lunch specials for only $6.99. They've got food and drink specials throughout the week, including their award-winning jumbo wings, just 69 cents. on Mondays. They've got a terrific menu for the kids, so mom and dad bring the kids. They've got a terrific kids menu, and if you like chicken strips and macaroni and cheese, and that's what my kids love, they got plenty of it here at Wings, etc. And their appetizer lineup includes their ultimate nachos and their deep-fried pickle spears. Plenty of high-def televisions here. You want to watch the Monday Night Football doubleheader, which starts at 6 o'clock. You can watch it right here at Wings. No Cardinal baseball tonight, so all the focus will be on the NFL. Let's talk it over with the Red Hawks All-American wide receiver, Christian Wilkerson, who, I'm sorry we interrupted you. We got you right in the middle. I see you still got a bunch of food over there. What exactly is in that Wings basket over there?
Well, I got 16 honey barbecue wings.
Honey barbecue.
Yeah.
Now, when you talk about barbecue, you come from Memphis, Tennessee. Tell us about the barbecue in Memphis, because it's kind of nationally known, Memphis barbecue.
Yeah, it's a dry rub. We do a lot of dry rub down there.
There's always the debate, because I know the basketball coach here at Southeast, Rick Ray, Kansas City guy, and we've had several, including Antonius Cleveland, who is now an NBA player, Memphis guy. So there used to be the big debate about what's better, Kansas City barbecue or Memphis barbecue. Do you want to weigh in on that?
I'm gonna lean towards Memphis, of course, but I never had Kansas City barbecue. I've heard it's good, but I'm going to lean towards Memphis.
No, well, I don't blame you. Leaning toward Memphis. All right. As you guys go out to Montana, how many times have you been on a plane? I know you were on a plane when we went to Ogden, Utah last year. How many times have you flown?
I flew to Washington, D.C. one time before we went to Utah. That's it. So this was my third time.
I've noticed several times when we do take a flight, there are a lot of guys always who have never flown in an airplane. Did we have any of those guys this time or when we flew out to Utah?
Utah, people weren't that comfortable, but this time they were comfortable, I guess, because of the Utah trip. But they were cracking jokes going to Montana.
I noticed anybody who hadn't flown before or who's a little hesitant, they always close that window. They don't want to look out. They don't want to look outside. So what I always find it to be kind of amusing is some of these big, tough, and I mean tough football players, but they get on a plane and it's like, oh man, I'm not so sure about this thing.
Yeah, I didn't have a shaky player by me actually. I was with a Florida guy, so he was used to flying. I wanted to switch seats with him, but he wouldn't let me go.
Oh, see, you gotta. Yeah. And you're a senior. I mean, you should be able to kind of take charge of that situation.
Yeah, I was fine. I was sitting by Santa, so it was really like in between. Should I bond with Santa or sit by the window? So I just stayed with Santa.
Yeah, well, that's you're in good hands. In good hands with Santa. So when you go out to Montana, one of the minor discussions was the elevation. How would everybody react to the elevation? And did you notice anything different when you were playing? Maybe tougher to catch your breath, or did it not affect you at all?
No, Coach Z does a good job with our conditioning, so it was pretty good. I felt like I was well conditioned for the game.
Now, when you stepped on campus here as a freshman, how much did you weigh then, and how much do you weigh now?
I weighed 217. I got up to like 225. But I was scared I was going to get moved to tight end because one of the receivers got moved to tight end. So I had to lose a little weight to be able to play good and well.
So what's the key to getting in the weight room and putting on the muscle? Because I know diet has a lot to do with it, right?
Yeah, eating right has everything to do with it. I think that's the main part of losing weight, gaining muscle, is the eating part.
And what are some of your favorite meals as you kind of have to, follow diet restrictions?
Grilled chicken, broccoli and rice, shrimp, boiled shrimp, salmon. I like catfish, fried catfish, but you got to have a little cheat day sometimes.
Absolutely. You're talking about the fried part of it. Yeah. They don't encourage too much of the fried food, but I'm a fried catfish fan as well. So the catch that you made in Montana, when you know you're facing double coverage, do you do anything differently than if you're just one-on-one with a cornerback?
Yeah, you try to find a window where you won't put the quarterback in jeopardy of throwing a pick, but you have to try to get open as well and make the play. So they did something different than what we saw, but we adjusted well to it in that timing.
How much, because you hear oftentimes about a relationship of a quarterback and his receiver. You know, obviously running backs too and tight ends, but in this instance we're talking about wide receivers. How important is it to have a really good relationship and go through so many reps as I know that you and Santa Catarina do?
It's very hard. You have to be able to trust the quarterback to throw you the ball, and he has to trust you that you won't let him throw a pick. So just having a trust is a big thing.
And as far as trusting him, it probably, I'm guessing, it didn't take very long once you got into practice and saw how much of an impact player he is. Have you ever played with a better quarterback than Santa?
Well, he's very competitive. I mean, it's crazy how competitive he is. He's a winner too, so I love him. He played with a lot of good guys at NIU, so I know he's gonna show me what it takes to be good.
Boy, you don't appreciate it until you see it on a regular basis. You know, if you think about Santa Catarina, you don't think of a guy as being a good runner and athletic and everything. He's a good thrower of the football. How many times has he extended plays with his legs in order for you guys to pick up a first down or to make a positive play? I mean, not every quarterback can do that.
Yeah, he does it a lot. He's just a competitor, so you have to just play through the whistle with him, and he's going to make things work.
You know, you see the highlight reel catches, the one-handed catch you made against SIU. We see all of the big plays that you make, but you don't have to sit down and talk with Coach Tuke for very long to know that you have a lot of responsibility as a blocker in this offense, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, you won't get on the field unless you can block. You have to be physical to play for Coach Tuke. He stressed that since day one. You have to be able to block. But he wants to make plays too, but block. You should be physical.
In high school, how much blocking did you have to do, and how much of an adjustment was it? What? You mean I've got to block a lot here?
Yeah, I didn't block a lot. I mean, we had a good running back, but they always ran away from me, so I really didn't have to block. Blocking wasn't, like, main thing. My coach stressed I would have to block when I got to college because I was so big, but it's a different story when you get to college and you actually have to block.
What was the key to learning the footwork and the technique and becoming a good blocker?
Running into linebackers, seeing how hard they hit. You got to adjust.
Who's the hardest hitter on this team?
Devin Alexander.
Devin Alexander.
Yeah, got to give it to him.
Yeah, well.
I mean, one time I ran across the middle. I think I was a freshman. I was running a drag route, and Zach Hall smacked me. I think he was a freshman. And it was like, well, yeah, I got to get my weight up now, get it back up. As he laid me down, I was shocked.
Well, that's the thing. It's one thing to be a guy who can make plays on the outside. Can you make plays over the middle? And over the course of your career, you've started to make a heck of a lot more plays over the middle. How different is that working sidelines and then working over the middle where you know guys are just waiting to take your hat off?
Well, you got to be mentally tough just to go across the middle and know you're going to get hit and catch the ball. So you're going to get hit either way, so you might as well make it worth it by catching the ball.
So anybody that may not know the term alligator arms, tell us what alligator arms is when a receiver's running over the middle.
Just trying to catch scared, trying to not to get hit. What you got to stand out. You might expose yourself, but when you alligator arms, you're like, don't hit me, please, but it's going to happen in football.
And I would say you're talking about trust with a receiver and a quarterback with a receiver. Seems like you'd have to have a little trust in your quarterback. He's not going to lay out to dry with a pass where you're going to have to extend and really leave yourself vulnerable.
Yeah, I mean, if it does happen, the ball gets away from the quarterback, but Santa hasn't put anyone in that predicament, so I'm glad about that. But, yeah, you got to be strong-minded to play football anyway.
Being able to be strong at reception point, how is that something that is learned? Is that something you work on, or is that like God-given ability?
I wouldn't say it's weight room, but it's just you have to just not tense up, but you have to know that someone is coming, and you have to just – I really can't explain it, but it's like getting a rebound. Just got to box them out. So you got to relate it to basketball, really.
How much basketball did you play in high school?
I started my sophomore year. Then I didn't play. I was going to focus on football junior year. Then the basketball coach asked me to come back my senior year because I started. So I came back and played senior.
How much did you like basketball?
Well, I come from a basketball family, so I loved it. Actually, I stopped playing basketball. I stopped playing football in high school to play basketball. But the high school coach like, you can go to college if you come play football. So I was like, well, I don't want to play for college. So, and I was 6'1" coming into high school, so I thought I was gonna be about 6'8". But nah, I'm still 6'1".
Still didn't happen. But you made the right choice. I mean, here you are on a scholarship now, and you've already got a playoff ring, a playoff win under your belt. As you guys came into this season, what was the thought process, especially from the guys who were a part of that run that you made last year?
Well, we knew what it takes to get to the playoffs, but we have to just build on this year, actually. So you just got to be strong, work hard, and just trust the coaches, trust the process.
You remember when you were a freshman and you looked into the stands and there weren't over 8,000 people there like there was for the SIU game. How cool is it for you as a player to see where the excitement level was for SEMO football when you were a freshman? And there was excitement level, just not at this level.
Right.
What is it for you to see the evolution from when you were a freshman here and then what you saw at the tail end, especially of last year when you guys were making your run, and then what you saw here opening night against the Salukis?
It's just a blessing to be a part of something that grows over time, actually. So I'm just proud and blessed to be here.
Do you take a lot more selfies with people now that you're an All-American?
Nah, I don't take a lot of pictures. I'm a lot more friendly, though. I talk to people now.
How about when you found out that you had been named an All-American and an All-Conference receiver? That had to feel pretty neat.
Yeah, it felt good, but I asked my brother, like, what does this mean? He was like, man, this means you got to work harder. You got to go harder. You got to do more than you're doing already. You got to treat it like a full-time job.
All right, as you get ready for the University of Missouri, what are your thoughts on going and playing a team out of the Southeastern Conference?
This is my first time playing an SEC team, so I'm pretty excited. I know I got to be on my A game at the top of my game this week in practice, sleeping, recovery, hydration, everything. So I'm excited.
Let me ask you this. Aaron Alston really burst onto the scene in the SIU game. I mean, he made a name for himself on special teams last year. Yeah. Got a little taste at wide receiver and caught a few balls. Tell us a little bit about him, what you see, because you know what it takes to be a quality receiver at the Division I level. What do you see with Aaron Alston, your teammate?
He's pretty good already as a sophomore. Like, he's better than me when I was a sophomore, when I was a freshman. So I'm excited to see how he grows over time. I know he's going to be a great player. And he works hard. He does everything right. He's a good blocker, so he does everything good.
Tell us about that conversation you had with Coach Duke when he said, I need more yards after catch.
Well, he was like, man, you're a big guy. You should not be running like you're 180, 160. You should be running people over, trying to stiff arm, not dancing. So I was like, I got to do it if I want to be better than I am already. Because catching the ball wasn't just good enough to win, so you have to try to score touchdowns every time.
What feels better, going up and making a catch in traffic or trucking a defensive back?
Trucking a defensive back all the time. Man. There's more yards, so it's better. You get more yards. I mean, you just run people over and keep running, score a touchdown. It looks better, too.
Paul McRoberts, how much contact have you had with him?
He was here for a year. And while I was here, and I just learned a lot from him just watching from a distance because he was a senior. I was a freshman. I didn't want to just leech on to him, but he was a great player. He worked hard. He taught me a lot actually when it comes to catching the ball. So I love Paul, and he's a humble dude.
And now, last check, he was in the Canadian Football League still?
Yes, he still is.
All right, might still get another opportunity at the National Football League. So a guy who showed you work ethic-wise, what it takes to draw the attention of NFL scouts and actually make it to the NFL. You probably came to SEMO at a perfect time to be able to watch a guy that indeed made the highest level.
Yeah, he was one of the reasons why I came to SEMO. It was like, we got an NFL receiver here, so I can come watch him and see what he does for later on down the line if I try to go. So, and he did everything I thought he could do, and he made amazing catches.
All right, you're closing in on his touchdown record, the school record for touchdowns. Is that I know team goals are first, but would that be nice to break his record and then let him know in a text message?
Well, I probably won't let him know. But he texted me last year like, bro, you got it, bro. And I was like, thanks. You showed me a lot. But if I break his records, yeah, it'll be pretty cool. And I'm excited about even being in this position to break his records.
All right, your wings are getting cold. We didn't mean to keep you for so long. Thanks so much for joining us. It's a pleasure watching you play. We know you're going to have a big senior year. Appreciate the time, Christian.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Christian Wilkerson. Coach Tuke going to rejoin us when we come back. We're at Wings Etc. in Jackson for the Red Hawks Coaches Show on SEMO ESPN. In Jackson, don't forget, we'll be at the Cape location of Wings Etc. coming up next Monday at 12 noon. Here are the latest from the national rankings. The Red Hawks will check in at number 19 this week in the media poll, the coaches poll. They are at number 20. And by the way, we were talking about how strong the Big Sky Conference is. They now have 4 teams in the top 10 in the nation. Eastern Washington, multiple national championship program. They're at number 4. UC Davis, number 5. Weber State, who the Red Hawks saw in the playoffs last year, number 6. And Montana State has moved up to number 10 after their victory over the Red Hawks. So, Coach Tuke, 4 teams in the top 10. Right now, Big Sky might be challenging the Missouri Valley as the top conference.
Yeah, and I know Jacksonville State plays Eastern Washington. Not this weekend, I don't believe. I think it's the next maybe. So, yeah, it's a lot of matchups out there, and it was great. I mean, I'm glad, right? If we want to be in the playoffs, it's a good, let's go find out how we match up. And if we're not good enough, then at least I know what it is that we're not good enough at.
And, I don't know how the playoff committee looks at RPI and things like that, but since they did beat you, I mean, it can only be good for you if Montana State goes out and has a tremendous season, right? I mean, if it comes down to, hey, you're on the bubble for a playoff, I hope you get the automatic bid by winning the conference. But, if you look at –
your resume is a big deal. Yeah, there's people just like we're in a room and your resume matters. SIU's win to UMass may mean more than anything, right?
For those who don't know, SIU went to UMass, an FBS program, and beat them by 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, so that's obviously great, and that's important if we're wanting to make the playoffs. Of course, we got to take care of our job, but it'll matter at the end.
Thanks to Jeff Hansa for that info on the Big Sky with 4 teams in the top 10. Now, the Missouri Tigers, a lot was expected out of them, Coach. When you went through their schedule, you could make a solid argument they were going to be the betting line favorite in their first 7 games, I think, before they went to Georgia and played. They opened up at Wyoming. Why an SEC team would play at Wyoming, I don't know, but that's the way that it happened. They jumped out 17-0, I believe, in that game, and then Wyoming came back and got them. Boy, they bounced back nicely. They just trucked West Virginia. They were up 31-0 at halftime, and they've got an elite quarterback, Kelly Bryant, who transferred from Clemson. In fact, he won 4 games for Clemson last year. 2 years ago, he led them to the playoffs. The Clemson Tigers are reigning national champs. They've got a high-level guy at quarterback, don't they?
Yeah. You know, it's one, I've got 2 things to say is, very thankful that Mizzou plays us. They pay us $4.25. I mean, so I'm not very good at math, but I think we're up to $6.50 this year that the university's getting. And so, very thankful that Missouri plays us, and every one of my kids on my team want to play them. And so very thankful, and just the job that Coach has done up there, because it was a damn dumpster fire when this whole thing hit. And he took over a dumpster fire. I mean, it was we had walkouts, and, I mean, you talk about changing a culture. I mean, this guy needs to write a book, because to say, all right, we are not going to a bowl game, and how many people transferred?
Nobody.
Go to anywhere else, they transfer. And so what gets them to stay is they love and they belong, and he's built something that they want to be a part of, right? That's what got them to stick in with them. And so we're only, we're going to play a good team, but also like a high character culture team too. So got our work cut out for us, but let's go. Like, let's, I've been an underdog my whole life. The whole team's underdogs, and, let's go up there and earn some respect. Ultimately, you want it to be a fourth quarter game, but you don't have to win a game to come out of that thing where people that watch the Red Hawks think highly of us and our institution.
Now, Wyoming ran for over 200 yards against Missouri. They ran all over the Tigers. Now, West Virginia didn't last week. I think they were negative yards in the fourth quarter, but West Virginia is the only team in the nation that doesn't have one single rush over 10 yards this year. So they're in a little bit of a rebuild this year, West Virginia. But Wyoming showed that a running game can be amassed against the University of Missouri. Do you watch kind of what Wyoming did and say, hey, maybe there's some –
We watch everything. Yeah. We watch YouTube. We watch Twitter. First of all, we watch everything. But that's what's misleading, because, they had 200 yards rushing or whatever. Well, 3 was half of it, 3 plays. Wyoming didn't line up and all down the field, right? They popped them. They had a big run. They had too many guys in the box, and they misfit it, and they popped it. So it wasn't like Wyoming said, hey, come get some of this for 60 plays. They big played them. Yeah. And that's what we're going to have to do. We're not going to sit there and, just methodically move the ball. We got to find ways to make big plays, and we got to prevent big plays. But there's not a lot of holes in the game.
It's a good thing you've got some big play guys, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you do have big play skill players, and we were talking a little bit about Aaron Alston and Christian Wilkerson. Very very complimentary of him, Coach.
Yeah.
Talk about the evolution of what you're seeing.
Well, I mean, I think all of those guys, we got good balance. If we could just get our O-line going, and I know once we get our tight end back too, like, this thing's still about the OVC, and so you know what? Missouri's going to be hard to block too, but you're going to be better coming out of this game, and you're going to be more tested, and the strongest steel comes from the hottest fire. So if you have the right mindset, this is a positive. If you're all up in your feelings, then they're going to beat you down and make you like it.
It's a kind of an odd thing that there are a lot of Missouri football and Missouri sports fans here, but they're also SEMO fans. I mean, because Mizzou is the state institution, the flagship school. So there are people that root for Mizzou and root for the Red Hawks that are Red Hawk fans. I would think that would lend itself to a nice turnout for the red and black coming up on Saturday.
Yeah, no doubt. My wife says I'm a scorekeeper. I've been to a couple places to eat, and I see a Mizzou Tiger up there, and I said, babe, get your purse. we're getting the hell out of here. And she says I'm too, I got to work on that a little bit. But you know, I think it's just a good game. You know, I don't want to play it, but we have to play it. So if we're going to play it, then this is good. I mean, it's good for a lot of reasons, and not just paying bills, but a lot of other reasons. So let's go enjoy it. If you're a fan, why wouldn't you want to go up there and enjoy it? Plus, it's not going to be 595 degrees. It's the hottest place to play on earth. I played there when I was at Toledo, played there when I was at SEMO. I played in a swamp. I played Tennessee. I played everywhere. There's no air moves through there. And so 6:30 game's nice, right? It's not going to be 150 degrees and all that. And go up there, get you a hotel room, and go get it on. Like, why not enjoy the Red Hawks versus SEC team? Like, we'll have to get a bus, get our sandwich and peanut butter and jelly, and go home and get ready to play another game. But if you're a fan, go enjoy it.
And how about a little credit for the athletic director here, Brady Barkey, because you really played 2 money games this year, but you didn't have to play an FBS team twice to get 2 big paydays. You somehow got a $225,000 payday from an FCS team.
Yeah, so we better build a damn stadium, Brady. So I don't know where the hell that money's going, but let's go. So we don't give him too much credit. You know?
All right, and with that, we will say thanks to Coach Took for joining us on another edition of the Coaches Show. We'll see you up in Columbia Saturday, Coach.
Sounds good.
Thanks to Christian Wilkerson, the Red Hawks All-American. He will be in uniform Saturday, 6:30 will be the kickoff. You can hear the game, of course, on Real Rock 99.3 and RealRock993.com online, or just go get the Real Rock 99.3 app, and you can listen on your smartphone. We'll get you back into ESPN Radio, the Stephen A. Smith Show coming up next. Thanks so much for joining us. Thanks to Mike Rennick, Dean Field here at the location, Wings, etc. in Jackson. Enjoy the rest of your Monday, everybody. So long from Wings.